To say that this video has been a long time coming is an understatement because we have been hanging on to these Nugget Ice machines for like, the one we've held on the longest to is like 2023. The one we held on to the longest.
Yeah.
Probably like 2023, like summer 2023. So we've been planning this video for a really long time. I was just my laziness.
Planning is an exaggeration too.
Okay,
it wasn't planning it.
It was an intention to do it, but it's really my laziness that really kind of held us up. I just, because then I have to like plug them all in. And here's the thing, we moved to this new spot. I had to plug them all in, run them for an hour and a half or 2 hours or all day and like figure out how they worked. I finally did it. I'm very happy that I did. This video is gonna be a complete contrast to the last review video that we did, because in the last review video, you knew, I just couldn't fake the fact that I didn't like the product. This video, I gotta say, just right off the bat, all the Nugget Ice machine makers work as expected. They all make very good Pebble Ice. They all work in a similar fashion. They have various different, what's the word that I'm looking for?
Abilities?
Yeah, capabilities, but in a more flowery way, like
quirks?
No, like features.
Oh, yeah. Abilities.
Okay. Yeah. They have different build qualities, and we're gonna kind of get into it. So usually when Marius and I do stuff like this, I like to unbox something and use it for the first time as if I'm figuring it out with you guys at home. Today we tested everything, as I guess I already said, over the course of a day, and I have a whole bunch of stuff to impart. So let's just get to it, right? Let's just get to what makes them all similar. As I'm kind of repeating myself here, but they all work, they all make good Pebble Ice. They all work as to be expected, and then they all make ice, usable ice within a half an hour. So within 30 minutes, you'll have about a quarter of a basket of ice. And what I mean by usable ice is that when all of these machines start up, the very first ice that they make is kind of chewed up and like kind of bad quality. You have to wait for a little while for it to start making like the good Pebble Ice. But within a half an hour, they've all made that good Pebble Ice. They all will fill at least halfway within an hour and a half. It does take a little while for them to make the ice, but the thing is that they have different capacities, and one of the downsides to this particular type of like countertop nugget ice is that they basically recycle water. So they have a little reservoir in the bottom, you fill the reservoir off, it makes ice, and then as it makes ice, internally, they don't cool down like a freezer, and so it cannot keep the ice frozen for very long. So if you allow the ice to just sit in the basket over time, the ice will begin to melt and then recycle itself back up. The way that I get around this is that I have a little bucket in a freezer, and then when I make the ice, if I'm not going to use it right away, I like to put it into a little bucket and put the bucket into the freezer and have very cold ice. Especially because when you're taking ice straight out of the thing, it's wet, right? And that wetness in your cocktails is going to add to extra dilution. So I like to actually put it in the freezer first, let it freeze, break it up with an ice pick, and then use it so that it's like not wet ice. That being said, but for soft drinks and stuff, it's fine, whatever. All of them kind of range in price from about like $150 on sale to about $600 list price. $650? It said $599 list price. This one said $599 list price.
$649. It's full retail.
Whatever, I don't know. You're on the GE website?
No, on Amazon.
Because I looked at list price on Amazon.
Okay.
And it said $599. And then slashed out.
Here is the link right now. It's like the little screenshot. You can see crossed out $649.
Okay, well, either way, it is available now for $599 for the big one, the 1 gallon tank. And we'll just get into that later. Okay.
And I paid $330 on Amazon, on Walmart. So you can get them for crazy prices.
You can get them from like anywhere from between like $150 to like $650 then. But like most of them will go on sale. You can get them on crazy Black Friday deals. So if you want the more expensive one, but you don't want to drop a lot of money on it, you can wait for it to go on sale and you will get a pretty good deal on it. That being said, for one of the ones with good build quality, you're definitely going to have to spend at least $350. Okay, let's get into each one, shall we? So the very first one that we're going to be talking about is the Frigidaire. And I think that this one is the most impressive one, actually, in certain ways. Okay. This one has kind of like a dual capability. Okay. So what's cool about this one is that you put the water into here first. Okay, so you put your water into here and then it starts making ice. And then as it recycles down in here, it also then starts pulling water from here to make ice as well. The problem with this machine, I think the major drawback is that it's very small. It has small capacity for water, although it kind of has a dual capacity for water, I guess. But it did make ice the fastest. So it filled this thing up within an hour and a half. That said, I think it made around the same amount of ice as the other ones. It's just that it looks more impressive because this is a smaller container. And so it looked more filled than the other one. The other drawback to this one is that it is completely plastic. So everything is plastic. There's no metal components. It kind of reads as a little cheaper than the other ones, but it is $150 on Amazon right now. It is the cheapest one. And I can't speak to longevity because we haven't, even though we've been sitting on these machines for like 2 years, we haven't actually used them for that time. They've just been sitting in boxes on our ugly storage shelves. So what were you gonna add?
I bought this one at Home Depot for Black Friday, and it was what, $150?
$150, yeah. And so now it's $149 on Amazon right now. So, I mean, this one is just very cheap.
Yeah.
That being said, it kind of seems cheap, but for the person who wants like a budget nugget ice machine maker that works really well, this one is good. And to tell you the truth, when I first fired this one up and started looking at the ice looked kind of ragged and crappy, but as it ran, it made better and better ice. And so it is definitely, it's 100% worth the $150. I mean, $150 is as cheap as something like this gets. I don't even understand how they make something, even plastic as it is, for that inexpensive. It's just, I feel like they're losing money on it.
And the small size is probably a benefit for home.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta tell you that these ones, all of these ones, unless you have a ton of counter space, all of these ones kind of suck to have on the counter. Like in my personal kitchen, we don't have a ton of space. And so like tucking that in there takes up a lot of area. So this definitely is a little bit more inconspicuous. It doesn't take as much space up. I mean, honestly, I would recommend it. That being said, if it conks out in a year, I still think it's worth it because it's only $100. If you divided that $100 by 12,
$150 plus tax, yeah.
Fine, okay, let's just say like $175, just, you know, tax, shipping, all that stuff. Divide that by 12, and how much is that? That's like less than $17 a month for a machine that'll make you ice for a year. So even then it's, and I think it'll last a lot longer than that.
Whoa.
All right, I have to stand to the side of this machine. It's so big. All right, so GE, this is the original Opal build, basically. So First Build is a company that started making these professional like bar products for the consumer, like shrinking it down for the consumer. And like we said a little second ago, they are the ones that originated the countertop nugget ice machine of this quality. GE bought them out and made this. So this is now the Opal, made by GE, profile. A couple things about it was pretty cool. Now the tank comes standard with it, so they upped the price a little. Well, actually, when the First Build first came out, that thing was like almost $700 when it first came out, and it didn't have any extra tank or anything. The extra tank came later as an add-on accessory that you could buy. Now it comes standard, and of course, prices have come down in the couple of years that this thing has been out. Couple of years, it's been more than a couple of years.
Yeah, it actually,
it's been like 6 years.
The first build was in 2015, so it's been like 10 years now.
So it's been like 10 years, yeah. So obviously prices are gonna come down. The build is exactly the same as the First Build, pretty much. It's got metal components, sheet metal and everything. It's really, really high quality. The components that are plastic anyway are pretty high quality as well. It's got a pretty, I have to come around here to show, but this has got a pretty large capacity. And what I kind of like about this is that the drawer has like, it's like a dual level, what do you call that? It's like sealed insulated? More. It's like more insulated. Yeah, it's like dual insulation, I guess. It has a pretty big reservoir for water. But the great thing about it is that with the tank, which has a 1 gallon capacity, well, there's two different ones. There's one that has 3/4 of a gallon capacity, and there's one that has a 1 gallon capacity. The 1 gallon capacity is the more expensive one. This is the one that we bought with the 1 gallon capacity. So it doesn't run out of water very often. So the downside to this machine is it's the most expensive machine that we've got. This is gonna set you back quite a bit. That said, if the quality of this is anything like the original First Build, that thing lasted us for 6 years. So it's basically the life of the channel. We got it when we were a pretty young channel.
Yeah.
We've been running it the whole time and it lasted for a very long time. I don't think it's completely dead now. I do think it's just a sensor issue. That said, I have only ever run bottled water through this machine because the water in LA is too hard and it's gonna get calcified. And I also want drinking water. I don't want LA tap water, especially after the fires, to be in the machine. And I don't want to be consuming that water either. So I use bottled water only in these machines, and it works fine. And I don't know what more to say about it.
Like distilled water or just like bottled water?
I just use bottled water, not distilled water, but I use, Crystal Geyser bottled water.
Because that has calcium and minerals and stuff in it.
Yeah, but it's not as hard. It's softer water because it's been filtered, and so it's softer water than what you get out of the tap. Yeah, it will still calcify in here if you don't clean it, but you have to run a cleaning cycle. All of these machines have cleaning cycles that you run. And if you took it apart, you can also, you can actually also pull these panels off and actually clean it out with a Q-tip if you really get crazy about it. You do that maybe once a year or something. But just using high quality water, you can use distilled water if you want. You don't have to, but I mean, if you want it. I think that it does actually definitely have something to do with the life of the machine though. If you want to have, a machine that lasts for a really long time, using good quality filtered water in it is probably a must. And that doesn't mean you can't use a Brita water either. Just filter it through a Brita if you want to. Yeah, so the GE profile, pretty good. So the Newair machine is basically a complete ripoff of the original first build, except for made with cheaper materials. It is largely plastic, although I have to say that the sides are sheet metals. You've got your fan right over here, so to dispel heat, and then you have everything else is basically made out of plastic. It's got a plastic drawer. It's really a fine machine. It's not like anything special. It's exactly like the first build. My only problem with it is that even though it has a handhold thing,
yeah, it's hard to
see how hard it is to pull out? You have to pull it out from up here. But it basically looks very similar to the first build. It's got similar capacity on the inside to the first build as well. It works exactly the same. It has simplified controls right here for like ice cleaning. You can put a light on in there, but otherwise pretty unremarkable. It goes for $249 on Amazon, and like Newair makes a ton of bar refrigeration type. They make a lot of like little under bar fridges and stuff like that. That's all I have to say about it. It works fine. I'm not sure how long it's going to last you, but it's median price for a Nugget Ice machine. It works as expected. Good quality ice. That's it. That's all I have to say about this.
Is the Newair logo not centered on the drawer?
I don't know. You can tell me. Is it not centered?
It seems a little.
Yeah, at least a little off. Hold on. Let's take a measuring tape to it and see. 4 inches. It's about the same. It's maybe a quarter of an inch off, maybe.
But
maybe a little less than a quarter inch.
It's definitely not in the center of that.
It's not in the center of this.
Yeah.
But it could be in the center of the machine.
Yeah, but isn't the handle in the center? But
also, does this look in the center?
Ish.
Is that a little like off as well?
Is it all a little off?
Is it all a little off? Right on the side there. It's 3.5, and yeah, it's close, but it might be a little off.
Yeah, not a lot of precision.
Aesthetically, though, that's something that you might notice.
Yeah.
The first day you have it, and then you're going to ignore all that shit.
Right. Or you notice it every time you see it, and it's like, oh my god, why?
No. That is what that would be your problem. You would notice it every time, and it would drive you mad. But most people would just be like, oh, it's a little off, and then they would completely forget about it because the placement of the logo has absolutely nothing to do with how well this thing makes ice.
Well, unless it's the symptoms of a larger
issue.
Yeah.
Here's
like
the thing.
Quality.
Yes,
quality control.
Fine, but here's the thing. You're getting it for 1/3 of the price of the other one.
But it's $100 more than the Frigidaire. So.
Well, did we scrutinize the logo of the Frigidaire? No.
No, but that nothing
popped out at you, but also Frigidaire is a very big company.
Yeah.
Although Newair is probably kind of a big company too, but I think Newair is the type of company that strikes me as a company that's trying to make these types of machines, any type of like plug-in bar equipment, as cheap as possible to maximize their profit. Whereas like Frigidaire doesn't do that. Frigidaire is trying to make a quality-ish product, although this doesn't seem like they're trying to maximize their profit with the price of that one.
Well, yeah, but it's like, it doesn't need to be metal. It doesn't, functionally, it doesn't help. It just makes it heavier.
No, that's not true. Functionally, it does help. It does help, yeah, because over time, plastic retains flavors.
No.
So if anything happens to the machine...
The internals of the stuff is the same. It's like whether the
No,
shell...
right, but the stuff that the water is sitting in is plastic, and that plastic will leach chemical into the water over time, especially if it's sitting under direct light.
None of these have steel tanks for the water.
Huh?
None of these have steel tanks.
Yeah, but most of them aren't exposed. Like for this one, right, the water is exposed. It's exposed to light. that can leach chemicals into your water. So even though this one has an internal plastic, it's internal and it's not exposed. I don't know how much of a concern this should be, but some people do think about that. It's like the same people that are concerned about the chamber juicer being aluminum, being like, oh, well, does the citrus oxidize the aluminum? Right. Citrus oxidizes all metal. Of course it oxidizes the aluminum.
Upside of it being plastic there, and it's frosted to let less light through, is that you can see the level of water. Here, you have no idea if it's running low or not. That's why they have plastic windows in coffee makers and stuff, so you can know how much water is.
For this one, you mean?
But this one doesn't have a gate.
Yeah, well, you'll see it when you pull out. I mean, the whole thing is when you pull this out to get the ice, you'll see it.
Yeah, but here, if you're continuously making ice, you just leave it on. You can monitor the level without it like opening anything up.
Except for when this empties and there's water down here, it'll still make ice.
Yeah.
So you can't see down here. You can only see up here. Like this one's kind of cool in that it sort of has like the tank, but like at the top, right? It has like, it's like the extra water is down here. Like if you just poured water into the cavity of this thing, it would make ice. But when you pour it up here, it takes it from up here, recycles it down. And so it's kind of has the extra tank sort of built in, which it's a smart design. It's a smart design. All right, so Newair, fine, but unremarkable.
Yeah, I'd get the Frigidaire over the Newair.
You'd get the Frigidaire over the Newair. I think I would get the Frigidaire over the Newair too. I don't have, and it's not that I don't have confidence in the Newair. I think the Newair is fine. But I think that this is actually a more attractive machine.
Yeah, and it costs less, and it's got that extra tank.
It costs less, and it's made out of similar materials. If we're gonna split hairs here, and since we're doing a review, we should split hairs, right? The GE Profile CH510. That's the name of this machine.
Also, Opal 1.0.
Opal 1.0.
Although it's actually
also known as the Opal 1.0.
But it's actually the second Opal, so I don't know why it's the 1.0.
Well, because the other one's the 2.0. So it's like the 1.0, the 2.0. This is the base model. That's the...
I know, but it's like...
That's the jacked up model. This one is very simple, made out of metal and plastic, just like all of them. Although I gotta say that just the build quality of this is so much better than most of these other machines that we have looked at. I love the build of this machine because it is like, I guess what I call like a bucket build, right? You just like go into it like a bucket. It has a little removable container here, and I just made a big mess with water. It is very simple. It makes ice very brilliantly. It looks good. It has a pretty thin design, right? So like, even though it takes up a lot of space that way, it doesn't take up a lot of space that way in your counter. And it looks good with your other appliances. It's one of the favorites, I think, that I had. Really like the Opal 2.0. I really like this machine as well. It worked just as well as the other machines. Ice quality was really, really good. Actually, when I ran all the machines, I made a big ass bucket of ice in an hour and a half by running 3 machines. I made this big ass bucket of Pebble Ice. And part of this Pebble Ice is what came out of this machine. So pretty good. I actually made a lot more than that in an hour and a half. There's actually 2 more containers of Pebble Ice in here. This whole freezer right here is just all Pebble Ice. It has a few different controls here, but it's very simple. You know, basically you have a power button and you have a clean button, right? So when you press and hold this, you go through the cleaning process. What I forgot to mention about all of these machines is they all have this. So like when you want to store these, they have 2 wires in the back right here, and you pull these out, put it in a bucket, and it will siphon all the water out of the cavity of the machine. You can also attach a tank to it. So even though it's sold separately, you can attach one of these tanks to this one as well so that it has extra water. This one also retails for $249. So same price as the Newair, but it's kind of a no-brainer which one you're gonna buy for $249.
Yeah, and it's if you keep it running and you just wanna scoop out some ice, it makes less mess. Because you just open the lid, scoop it out instead of having to pull the drawer out and drip.
They all come with scoops. I gotta say, I'm not a big fan of the scoops that they come with. They come with these, we might as well just mention it and show people. They all basically have the same scoop. Let me find one, because I didn't put one here on set, because, you know. What would this channel be if I was always prepared? This is the exact same scoop that they all come with in different colors, basically.
Tiny handle.
Teeny tiny handle. Like what are you scooping with this? Like seriously, it's uncomfortable. It's not ergonomic. It's terrible. Let's throw it away. Okay, the Oraimo. This one we put in here for shits and gigs, but really, honestly, it's not available anymore. So it did go for about $350 on Amazon. It is currently unavailable, and unfortunately, it's like my favorite one, which of course, the one that's not available is my favorite one. But what I really like about it, just first off, is the design, where it has like a door, like it's like a kind of an oven door that you open up, complete with a metal crossbar here. And then you pull out a very large capacity bucket The other thing about this is that it has a scheduling feature that I don't think the other ones do. So you can schedule your ice to be made. You can set it to make your ice at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then you can tell it to turn off as well. And then the other thing that's really cool about it is that it comes with an extra water line in case you want to hardwire your machine to a water line. The thing is that what I found weird about this is that this also requires another adapter. They didn't put it in the box. They have the line in the box, but not the adapter that you have to buy. So I just don't understand that. Like, why would you give me the capacity to do something, but only halfway? That said, this company doesn't really make nugget ice machines. They make stick vacuums, and this one, you cannot buy it.
I mean, they did ask us to make a review 2 years ago. So, I mean, maybe if we did, they would be still making them.
So you think that they stopped doing it because they didn't sell enough machines?
And we're to blame.
And we're to blame for it. Somehow I doubt that. It's possible that we have that much influence over whether or not a company continues making a nugget ice machine. But we did lag on it for a while. But hey, if you want to pay us for a review, we'll make it right away. If you want to give us...
No, we don't do paid reviews.
Oh, that's true. Actually, we don't do paid reviews at all. So if you don't pay us for stuff, though, we're not going to do it fast. We're going to do it in our own time when it makes sense for us.
It's a gamble.
It is a gamble. Sometimes we do it fast, sometimes we don't. But you're right. We don't do paid reviews. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know, the Oraimo. This
could have been great.
Machine.
Yeah.
It's made out of metal.
It's really heavy too. It's
super heavy.
Very.
It does take up kind of a lot of space, but again, it has a very thin profile, so it takes a lot of space that way. You need like a deep counter, but you don't necessarily need a ton of counter space. And it fits under where most kitchen counter drawers or cabinets will hang.
Okay.
So you can fit it under most, unless you have cabinets that hang really low.
But the build quality feels really good.
Yeah. The build quality is feel. I think there's like a standard height, because if you look at,
these are all
about the same.
Except the Frigidaire, which is tiny.
Frigidaire is tiny, yeah, but that's a teeny tiny little guy. So I don't know. I mean, I guess that's it. In conclusion, nugget ice machines are in their renaissance right now. You could basically throw a stone and hit a good one. Mm-hmm. They range in price, so you can really decide what you want to pay on it. And I think that right now it's a pretty indispensable. If you want to make cocktails, it's an indispensable piece of equipment that you should definitely have.
Verdict. I would buy either the Frigidaire or splurge on the Opal.
Well, you're a cheapskate. That's why.
No.
So if you're going for a splurge, then that's but which Opal though?
Oh, the big Opal.
This one.
Yeah.
The big boy. Yeah, I think that out of all of them, my favorite one is the big Opal. Although I really do like these two machines. I just love the aesthetics of this machine. I love that you open it up and you go down into it as opposed to the side. This, you basically have to take it out to access it. Whereas this, you can take the basket out, but you don't need to.
Yeah.
You can just scoop it out, right off the counter if you want to do that. Not that I do that, but you can.
But is that feature worth $100 more? I don't think so.
$100 more from what
compared to the Frigidaire, yeah.
Yeah, I mean they both identical. They both do the thing. What I do think is, I'm speaking in incomplete sentences. I'm going fast, so I'm going to slow myself down right now and say that they are both capabilities-wise, they're similar. I think what is worth the extra $100 though is the capacity for ice. That has a higher capacity for ice than this. This is very small. And I think I might get irritated by having to constantly pull the ice out.
Yeah, if we make as much as we do, but if you're just one guy or a couple.
I don't know. And
how much Pebble Ice
aesthetics, I think this guy wins. I might spend the extra $100 just for the aesthetics. It's a bigger machine. It's better aesthetics. Kind of like it better. I would buy that over that. But that's not to say that's not a good machine. It's a good machine. But if I had my choice in the $250 range, I'd spend a couple extra few bucks and I get this one if it was available.
Right.
But if I'm gonna splurge, I think the best machine is probably the profile, the Opal. The original Opal, 2.0 with the side tank. I think that's probably the best machine. So if we're gonna rank them, I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, just because it has limitations.
Yeah.
And then 5 for the Newair. Yeah. That would be my ranking. And your ranking would be 1, 2, then which one?
Yeah, then the Opal
3,
one. Yeah.
4,
I guess.
5?
Yeah.
Okay. So the only thing is that you just love the price of the Frigidaire. You're like, it works well, it does its job, it's $150, sold.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like a lot of people are going to agree with you on that one. All right. Well, that's it, guys. I hope you guys found this to be a little bit better and more informative of a video than the last review that we did. I'm glad that we got around to all of these machines. Now we got to figure out what we're going to do with all these machines. Maybe people can tune into our Instagram and find out what we're going to do with all these machines. But we have no shortage of Pebble Ice machines here in the studio. I feel like maybe we should give one of you guys one, but we can't do that on YouTube because it's against the rules. Tune into Instagram and see if we give one away or not. That's it. See you one another time.
Stay cool.
You just can't help yourself with the dad humor. All right, that's it.